Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am continuing my 31 days of horror movie reviews. And this was a movie that I was already curious about. And so when Redbox sent me a bunch of free codes to use, I decided to use one to see It Comes at Night. This is a 2017 film that was written and directed by Trey Edward Schultz. And the plot is we meet Joel Edgerton, who is living in this house with his family, wife and son. And this is a post-apocalyptic type of movie. I guess technically, you don't get a whole lot of information about what happened. All you know is that there was some disease that's going around and killing people, and that there's only a few survivors left. So the whole movie, you see him and his family trying to survive. And then they come into contact with this guy, Will, who he too has a family. He too is desperate to survive and do what he can. So they try to cooperate. They try to live together. But it does not go all that well. Now, what I thought of It Comes at Night is I actually enjoyed this movie. I did. And it's funny because when it first was coming out, I remember either hearing reviews from festivals, or maybe it was just early reviews from critics who, some people were loving the movie and saying it was great. And then other people were let down. They went into the movie expecting a flat-out horror film, the scariest movie ever, which is on some of the posters and trailers. And I watched the trailer after seeing the movie and thought, yeah, this trailer is really selling this hard as a real scary movie. But that's a disservice. I watched this movie, and I guess because I got some warning that this movie isn't what it sounds like, even the title, It Comes at Night, you're expecting a monster or creatures. Maybe it's a zombie movie. No. This is just a survival movie. This is just a movie where Joel Edgerton, he is willing to do anything to keep his family safe. And you see the trust. When he does meet this guy, Will, played by Christopher Abbott, who plays this character well, because when you first meet him, you don't know what to think of him. You don't know if he's telling the truth. You don't know if he's on the up and up. There's a moment where he tells Joel Edgerton that he had a brother who died, so now he's just him and his family. But then later on, he catches him in a lie where he says that he was an only child. You're like, wait a minute. And you're left to wonder, is this guy bullshitting? What's really going on with him? When they're living together, you see those dynamics of, there are moments where they do get along, where they do work together, where they are out there getting food and supplies and water, and it seems like it should work out. But then there's other areas where you're like, fuck, I don't know who to trust. And if the slight chance that this other family isn't lying, or if they are just maybe trying to protect themselves, you look at your main characters and think, are they going too far? Joel Edgerton, he is willing to kill or do what he has to do. The other actors, you have Carmen Ojogo, who plays his wife. And I liked her because you could argue that she doesn't get a whole lot to do, technically. But I'm kind of glad how they used her, because if they did do more with her, it probably would have been your typical, oh, the wife is against his actions and is constantly arguing and yelling at him to keep your humanity. You don't have to do this. We don't have to be these people. And that would have been annoying, or you've seen that before. This was like she was behind him. Whatever he had to do or wanted to do, or there was even moments where she was like, yeah, we have to do this. And she was all for it. She was down in game to do it. The son is played by Kelvin Harrison Jr., an actor that when I looked him up, I've seen the movies that he's been in. I just don't really recall seeing him before. And I thought he was really good here. It's a subtle performance, especially at first, because he doesn't talk a lot, but the film follows him just up late at night. He can't sleep, so he walks around in the house and he sees these weird images. He's constantly having nightmares of these freaky ass dreams where he's seeing some gross or disturbing stuff. But he too wants to have hope. He wants to believe in people. He wants to, he has this level of optimism that you could tell he's a teenager. You could tell he's not quite there yet. But I understood him and I felt bad for him. I was surprised at the slow build. This movie is a little slow. Some people might not like that. Some people might find it boring. I was fascinated to like go along with these characters and put myself in the situation of like, would I trust them too? What would I do? Did they go too far? Would I do that? Like, it was a lot. It was a character study. It was a character examination. You take the situation and it forces you to look in at yourself and say, wow. So to me, it was interesting. It was fascinating. It was well shot, well acted, especially well acted. My only complaint is the very, very ending of the movie. I don't mean any events or chain of events that happen or what happened to characters. I'm just talking about the last maybe 5 minutes I thought was very anticlimactic. It just sort of was like, okay, this happens, and then credits. And honestly, I was sitting here, I was so into it. Throughout the whole movie, I was at that level of suspense. I was with the movie, even though it's not flat out horror or terrifying like it said it was going to be. I was still with what was going on. And then it just ends, and it left me a little, it left me hanging. It left me wanting more. It left me feeling incomplete with the story. And honestly, this would have been a full price movie if it had a better ending. I would have been raving and loving the film and singing its praises if it had a better ending. As it is, I know it's not in theaters anymore. I know you could Redbox it if you want or watch it digitally if you want for yourself. But if I were to rate it, I would give it a matinee. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen It Comes at Night. What do you think of it? Do you have some controversy? Did you hate it? Was it not what you were expecting, or are you surprised by it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
These silent screams became a part of me. I'm moving past that. Please won't you free my soul? Can't hardly breathe in this society. I'm just a madman. Please, let's breathe.